Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name's Stephen Howson. His name's Adam Mckola. This is Stretford Paddock. This is Howson and Mckola Uncensored. Not to be confused with Mckola and Howson Uncensored, because that's a different show. All right, son.
What's happening?
Are you lot all right at home? And I'm asking this, like, genuinely. Are you all right? Has your head fell off yet? Because if it's not, what you doing? Why hasn't your head fell off yet? At the situation. If you're just like, I'm cool. I don't think you're paying attention.
I was like that for a while, for about 2-3 weeks. I was like, this is cool. Can chill out, focus on my channel, like, because apart from going to football matches and going to meet you like in studios, I'm usually sat at home anyway if I'm not on the motorway. So like, it was kind of good for me to just kind of sit down for a bit and just chill at home for a sustained period of time. But now I'm close to cracking. But you reminded me then of that. Have you seen that advert? I think it's a nationwide advert. And they've got that comedian woman and she's saying, are you all right? But no, are you really all right? How's your mum? And it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
I'd have to watch telly. The only one reason I watch telly, right?
She's weird.
And that's football. So I'm not watching telly. Here's what I'm watching. Netflix.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm really watching. Disney films.
Yeah. Which Disney film?
Monsters Inc. Even though it's technically Pixar, but it's the same thing now. Monsters Inc. What was the other one the other day? Oh, Ratatouille. Ratatouille's class, you know.
I watched that in the cinema. I remember that at the time. Can't remember why.
DreamWorks and Pixar have done some outrageously good films that are just intelligently done, very well made, and even if you're not two, you can watch them. Like Toy Story is a genuinely good film. Yeah,
Toy Stories and Shreks are great. Like, you can watch them in anyone. Lion King the same.
Oh, Lion King.
Like, there's a lot of films that are great. I want to watch. Is it the Mulan one? They've made a remake of it.
They've done Dumbo, Lion King. I haven't
really
seen.
Good,
they've made them all real looking, haven't they?
I believe they filmed most of it in Asia. In China. That one looks good. It's released. Is it already released? No. I need to watch that if it's released. Because, that looks really good, that does. The Mulan movie. I don't think it is released yet. But yeah, that's one of them that looks like it might be better than the original cartoon. So Disney Plus.
So no,
Recess. Have you been watching Recess on there?
I haven't. I did watch Recess as a kid, but no, I didn't get Disney Plus. It's literally, I've got name a subscription service. I've got it, but not Disney Plus.
I got 6 months free. That's all right.
So I'm having an issue at the minute, son.
What's wrong?
Right.
Talk to me.
I'm wearing a pair of shorts, right?
Oh, Jesus.
And they got netting in them.
Oh, God. So you're wearing swimming trunks?
No, they're not swimming trunks. They're actually the Paddock kit shorts, but they come with a net in them. The Umbro's Premier short. I've got big spuds. One spud's not sitting in the net. It's a small net. I need a bigger net.
We'll write that into.
Doing my fucking head in.
Remember, if you are a bigger lad, probably get a size up. Wish he had.
Yep, wish I had, because it's just it's not the most uncomfortable thing in the world, is it? But you know that, like, one of your nuts is just trying to just.
That reminds me of Royal Family when he got new pants. He got, I paid £1 for these and I got 50p's worth stuck up my arse.
Did you see what Jay tweeted the other day? He was saying he's listening to the Sopranos podcast and they just went off topic.
I watched that, yeah.
And he was saying the Royal Family it's a show about nothing, and you're like, yeah, but it is genius.
Americans talk about it, and I was trying to, because I watch it. It's on Gold a lot of nights, so when I'm trying to sleep, I'll watch it. And I was trying to watch it from, like, imagine if I was American. Like, they wouldn't understand a lot of what goes on in that. Like, they just wouldn't get it. Like, a lot of the things that they're saying, even, like, they call cigarettes fags. Like, Americans don't do that. So, like, they would probably be thinking, huh? What's he saying? Like, there's so many different things in there that they just wouldn't get. But if it has crossed over, that's pretty cool. Carolina Hearn's a legend, though, man.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. And Mrs. Merton and her. I mean, what's she called? Is it Denise? Is her character Denise in the show?
Dave.
She's annoying as fuck. Like, you want to hit her.
Yeah. She's
so lazy and fucking annoying. You're like...
But her character would make you think she's not smart enough to write this whole thing. And did she write it all with Dave? Was it her and Dave that wrote it all?
Dave Best.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they both writ it.
And they both play the dumbest characters.
Yeah. The slowest characters, which is pretty good.
They mentioned Droylsden in it at one point. I remember obviously growing up being in Droylsden, and you're like, because no one mentions Droylsden on the telly.
Is that when she says, Nana's on about someone from Droylsden was on Family Fortunes or something like that? She only lives 10 minutes away from me. Just like...
Brilliant. Anyone who's... I mean, I imagine... most working class cities in Manchester are very, very similar, that they can relate to the royal family that way.
Certain bits in it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's... Obviously, it's Manchester, and there's certain Manchester phrases and sayings and doings, but, like, you know, the guy that's bringing all the bent jeans round in a bag and all that lot, and...
Twiggy.
Yeah, this is real. You know what I mean? This is real life shit. I remember things like that coming round. Some guys got like bedding and stuff
like that. So people someone used to come around my house every summer with black bags full of football shirts, like the new ones, all with the tags and that on. Sometimes there might be a security tag on some of them, but like we used to buy them. Like we used to get the full kits like straight away, man.
Do you remember?
I've probably got some of the... No, there's no. Yeah, possibly got some of the...
There's two kits I remember seeing in the street when they shouldn't have been allowed. Oh, no, three, actually. The blue and black one with the badge in the middle of it, the 92-93 away kit. I remember seeing someone walking the street near my house wearing it before it was out, and I was like shocked. And then it happened a few years later with the 97 shirt. And shit, what year was it? It was all in the 90s, but there's something about seeing a new kit. I don't know if this is just a kid, because I don't have the same vibe for him now. I mean, I liked buying them for Jaden when he was a kid and stuff. I always like getting a kit dead early for a kid. I don't buy them for myself. I've probably had 2 shirts in the last 20 years, but that excitement of a new kit coming out as a kid was amazing.
Buying it, getting your name on the back from JJB.
I predate that as a thing as a kid.
Yeah.
My dad bought me the 91 European Cup Winners' Cup kit. Now, if you remember that was a one-off kit. I've still got that. Actually, it's in our studio. That kit. Jaden's wore it. It looked mint on Jaden when he was wearing it. But I remember my dad come in, and Adidas kits back then used to come in a box with like a clear window on them, like the Adidas thing all around the top. They looked amazing. I bet if you could find a boxed Adidas kit from like 1991 now, you go for like $5 ton, wouldn't it?
I'm looking for all my Pokemon cards on that at the moment because I've got first edition Pokemon cards. I had a lot of them, and if I find them, I've got some money there. Like, because they were in a plastic case, all covered. Like, they pretty sick. And if I find them, I've got some dough. I'll probably find them and they're like water damaged in the loft or something like that. But if I can get them and they're still in good nick, they're going on eBay.
I never collected anything like that. The only thing I've got still, like anything like that, is I've got all but one of Jaden's kits growing up. Like his nickname is Jadinho. And the reason his nickname is Jadinho is my mate Steve has got like a printers. So even when you buy a baby kit, you can't always get a name and number on them when you buy them because they're too small.
Big. The letters are too big, innit?
Yeah, especially if you want something custom, they just don't do it. But I remember, like, I used to buy him any kit. Like, he had a Schweinsteiger Bayern Munich one, he had a Porto one, he had obviously England one, Spain ones, and I bought him. And I used to just put like Jaden 7 on the back of them for him, and then. This was early doors internet and stuff, and someone sent you one of them Brazilian name generators. Do you remember that, where you put your name in and it gives you your Brazilian name? Well, I put his name into one of them and it come up with Jadinho, and I was like, that's sick. And then I ordered him a Brazil kit, and I was like, should I get Jaden on it? That's pretty cool, isn't it? Like, for it, instead of just getting Jaden 7. So I took it to Steve, and I was like, can you throw a name on that? And he did it. And then it just stuck for years as his nickname. But yeah, that's where it come from. He had a kit when he was 2 with fucking Jaden.
I remember that generator. I think I probably did that as well.
Oh, we all did it. Everyone had to do it.
Yeah, that's sick. I love buying the kits and that. And I just wish I was smart enough to say, just buy me the adult ones for when I'm older. Because I would have had like the green and gold kit, the red kit with the lace in it, like all of them kits. That would have been perfect. Like I've still got some of my dad's. Like, do you remember the sharp view cam with the circle thing in the middle, the white one? It was sharp view cam, black writing, had the logo in the middle with a circle around it.
The badge?
Yeah. The badge. White kit. Like, my dad's got that still, and it's his size. I could wear that, but I'd want to, like, preserve it. Or, like, if I met someone that wore that kit, I'd take it and get them to sign it. But, yeah, I wish I had the kits in my size. This is one that I've got in my size since back in the day. Yeah. But my mum washed it. I remember when they changed the writing, and it became like plasticky writing. It all peeled off in the wash.
Yeah, Brazilian name. So it's nickcrab.com. Search Nick Crab with 2 B's. Brazilian name generator.
I still hate my mum for this.
Mine is How Cisco, apparently.
Cisco.
How Cisco. HOWSISCO. Let's see what yours is. Mckola.
That sounds good.
2 K's next to each other. Mckola. Madness.
I'd be a baller if I was Brazilian. Who is your... I don't want to know the bet. Okay, without saying R9, because we're both going to say R9. Who's your favourite Brazilian to watch?
R9.
You can't say R9.
All right, okay. Ronaldo de Lima.
Outside R9, it has to be Ronaldinho, doesn't it?
Yeah, it probably does. Yeah, I mean, you could try and be hipster and say it's someone else, but yeah, let's be honest. It's like,
was very good as well.
He was.
I remember when he came to United and made Ever and Hines fucking hit each other, and all that. That was so good to watch. Although it hurt us at the time.
Blake would be Blackildo. Might get her a Brazilian kit. She's number 5. But Jay was 7.
Because a lot of their names are nicknames, aren't they? And like their names will be a lot longer than
their they'll be like Dos Santos, something over.
I think that's a Portuguese thing because Cristiano's the same.
Yeah.
Cristiano Dos Santos, Aveiro, Ronaldo, Delete. Like he's got, I don't know what he's got in his name. He's got a long one.
Denazio, something or other. Like Fred's is Fred Rodriguez Dos Santos.
Yeah. Why doesn't he have Dos Santos on his name? Imagine that. I think you'd get a 10% extra sauce if you put Dos Santos on. But then again, there was Giovanni Dos Santos, remember? He went to Spurs.
Ruben Rodriguez.
Spurs and Ipswich.
Even if he just had Rodriguez.
Andreas Pereira, man. He should be more Brazilian. You can tell he thinks like a Brazilian. He was talking about playing for Santos the other day, wasn't
he? And Barcelona and Real Madrid won it.
Yeah, well, he wasn't talking about. I think he just asked a question about them clubs. Surely you'd say nice things about those clubs, but I genuinely think talking about Santos, he seemed like he'd be open to a move there at some point. If you can't take the pressure at United playing for Santos, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? You might be able to showcase your talent a little bit more in that league, but it's pressure. It's not like you're going away from the pressure.
He might be that level, though, to be honest. Because he's a technically good footballer, but...
He's a great football technically.
The Premier League's... the Premier League forces you to be simple. Like, I bet if Rashford or Greenwood, someone like... Even Williams, right? I bet if any of them lads just came and played 5-a-side... You'd walk off with your head in your hands at how good they are at tricks and mad shit. But because that There ain't time to showcase that in the Premier League. You've got to play a bounce pass. You've got to take 2 touches and move it on. You've got to knock it out at your feet and get a cross in. Everything you do, you've got to do simple, and you've got to do it quickly, because some cunt's going to fucking welly you. It dumbs down the league, doesn't it?
And the speed and the space that you get on the ball.
Yeah,
you see with Chris Smalling looks a little bit more comfortable in Italy. He gets a lot more space as soon as he picks up the ball, a lot more time, less pressure. You can play it out from the back with ease. As soon as you put him into that pressure cooker of the Premier League, when it's very, very quick, and the crowds are not... There's great crowds in Italy as well, don't get me wrong, but all that combination of things, I think it just brings out a rashness in players at times. And if you ain't up to that speed, it's like you see Andreas Pereira at times running through. And if he just does the simple thing, keeps it simple, he looks very good.
Yeah.
But he starts overthinking everything. I can bend this in that corner, I can do this, let me do 3 step overs before I decide, and then the moment's gone.
And maybe he could do that in Brazil.
He could do that in Brazil. He'd probably look very good in Brazil.
That's the thing, is different leagues have different strengths and weaknesses. I'm not sitting here telling you that the Prem's better because it's more physical. The Championship's physical. And I like the Championship, and I like how competitive the Championship is because of that. But that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't mean anything. It just means it's different. Different doesn't always mean better or worse. It's just different. Dutch football, quite technical. You don't necessarily see a lot of physicality. That's why it's a good place for young players to sort of showcase what they got. Bundesliga, there's some elite football teams at the top of that. But there's a lot of guff in Bundesliga as well. And I think you get more time on the ball than you get in Germany. I think it's a great league to come up. If you can end up at one of the top teams, you can compete in Europe as well. But it's a good league to learn on. Italy, you get a lot of time on the ball, but you don't get a lot of space. Spain, it seems like you get a lot of space. Everywhere's a little bit different, and like I said, different isn't better. Different is just different. And I think that some players are just suited to. I was thinking about this before. I'm balls deep in that Brian Clough book. Brian Clough had an outrageous record.
I've read that before.
The Jonathan Wilson one.
They showed me the cover. I've read one of his books. I got it free in the newspaper about 20 years ago. I just remember reading it. No, it's a different book. I think I've got his autobiography.
His record as a striker is fucking ridiculous. Let me read this out to you. So, not a lot of people understand. I mean, not a lot of people know him as a manager because he was realist. He was pre-Premier League era. Right, for Middlesbrough, here's what he did, yeah? Debut season, got 3 in 9. Then he got 40 and 44, 42 and 42, 43 and 43, 40 and 42, and 36 in 42. What? 204 goals in 222 appearances. Then he moved to Sunderland, which can't have gone down well. And he got 34 in 43, 28 in 28, and then he finished. Didn't play a lot of seasons. In total, 296 games, 267 goals. Are you fucking kidding me?
Why did he stop his playing career?
It was I'll just let me check here. I am sure it was a knee injury. 9.16 goal per game ratio. It's the highest in England in terms of a goal ratio.
And it's a lot of games as well. That's not,
medial and cruciate ligament. It was.
Now, back then, you never had the.
Yeah, basically done at 26, 27. Just when he was entering his prime. So yeah,
that's like Bestie, though, isn't it? For different reasons.
Yeah.
But his career cut short very early on. To think the heights that he reached in the time that he had. Imagine if he was like Bobby Charlton in the sense that he was more focused on his football and things like that. You probably don't get the same personality, the same talent, the same player. It's always the thing with Mavericks, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, if you take that away from them, what do you have? Like, do you still have the same? Like, it's hard to say. It's like with Wayne Rooney. They used to always try and get him to just stop being so aggressive and stuff. And it's like, if you lose that, you lose the man. And maybe George Best was great because he was like that. Like you see with Dennis Rodman in The Last Dance. He needed to go out and blow off steam and, go to Magic City and with his dad and all that. But he was still playing great. he just needed to do that. Or is that Jordan who went Magic City? Dennis Rodman went
that was Jordan, wasn't it? Yeah.
Dennis Rodman went wild with Carmen Electra. That's the one.
It's a good night out, that, I reckon. Jesus Christ. Do you know what? I like being a bit of a contrarian at times, and I was well aware of Jordan as I was growing up, and I was well aware of Chicago Bulls. It's just one of those that permeates out of the sport and into the mainstream. And obviously in England, a lot of basketball culture was...
It was hip hop. It became hip hop culture. Yeah. It became like, you know, everything. You see, like, people started wearing basketball shirts and basketball shoes as like.
Yeah, I did. I wore Bulls and never watched a game.
I got a D Rose shirt. I don't know. You could walk past me right now.
But Rodman was the one that I think there must have been highlights somewhere. Because I know that my dad used to watch American football when it was on telly. I think Channel 4 used to have American football. So my dad used to watch American football, and he liked the Giants because he's always liked New York. And I think there must have been some basketball on at some point, because everything I ever saw, like, you know, I like Rogues, Keane, Cantona. Dennis Rodman was the one I drew myself to, rather than Jordan. It's easy to like Jordan. He's the best player ever.
What I hate with Dennis Rodman, though, was they got hung up on his sexuality a lot. Like, they never...
Of course they will.
It was always, are you gay or are you straight? Like, what are you? I remember he does an interview with Oprah, they just keep asking him, and it's like... that. Obviously, it was the time they were living in, but it was like, nowadays, that kind of character, I think, would be embraced. You know what I mean? He obviously was them by certain people, but I think now he'd be more embraced. He'd have deals on the back of it. He'd be going wild. I think people love that foolishness now.
Well, if you watch him when he plays for the Pistons, it's just another basketball player. The Bulls took him and went, you be you, mate. You just fucking be you and crack on, and jobs are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I love Scottie Pippen's story as well from that. Jordan needed him, but he needed Jordan too.
What a great time to release it. I don't mean the coronavirus, but I mean, like, sitting on all that footage for 20 years. The temptation to put that out.
Was it Jordan's?
It was his production company, I think. That's
because it's very shrewd. Like, I know in America they film almost everything on their NFL and NBA and all that kind of. The media scrutiny is very on top, and almost every team's doing a documentary, aren't they? But like, to think, let me get this in the bank, and then sit on it
for 20 years.
It's not like back then we had Netflix, so he's like, I'm going to get a Netflix deal in 20 years. Like, it's crazy, but because we haven't seen it yet in the show, because he becomes a baseball player, doesn't he?
Yeah.
After that, which is like,
what? And wasn't at the time the worst. Like, I mean, the fact that he wasn't the worst baseball player ever is mental, isn't it? Just fucks off for 2 years. Imagine Marcus Rashford's like, I'm going to go sprint for England for 2 years. I'll go to the Olympics and I'll come back. And I didn't win the Olympics because clearly it's not my life and I'm not going to be that good. But the fact that he could even probably qualify would be insane.
But in America, they play a lot more sports, don't they? Like, I know people do here as well, but America, they seem to be... They'll all play football, they'll all play basketball.
That's because it's... Oh, hang on, I've gone dark as fucking here, mate. Sun's gone in. This is the nightmare of filming in a fucking glass box.
It looks the same to me, but you've got a camera in it, so... Yeah,
I'm on the main camera. You're seeing me through the webcam. That'll adjust automatic. I'll go and change this in a sec. Yeah, it's all seasons, isn't it? So, like, football season's like fucking 10 week. And then basketball season's probably whatever. I think the only one that goes year-round's baseball. For pro, at least. Hang on, let me go and adjust this. Do you want to go and pick out some questions? You know what's going to happen, don't you? The sun's going to come out in a minute, and it's going to overexpose it again. Go on, questions we got.
Right, I'm just looking. So you heard the story about Joe Hugill and Mark Gerardo, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people talking about that. We got Jack online talking about the increased investment into the academy, and Aaron Watson as well, talking about recent academy signings and the academy strategy. United were well known for doing this. When you look at the likes of Giuseppe Rossi, the Raphael, and Fabio, Pogba from Le Havre, there was a lot of players over the years that we brought in.
Timbo, Burkhardt, Chong.
A lot of them.
A lot of players. Yeah, this is Mabry. This isn't. This has been a strategy for at least 5 years. That it's been a stated goal. Someone who was at one of the meetings that they do for the parents basically just passed me on the whole fucking dossier of what Nicky Butt laid out. So I did a video about this several years ago. It's actually called something like Academy Plans and Director of Football, because that was when it was first sort of touted for the Director of Football. And their strategy was literally buy the cream of the 15, 16-year-olds from around the world and pair that with the very best Mancunian talent. The very best. That's
what we've... When you look back to the Busby days, it was on a smaller scale, but it was Ireland and England.
Midlands, North East.
Yeah, so we got Duncan Edwards from the Midlands, we got Georgie Best and other Irish talents coming. So we got all these talents from around the world. Even when you look at David Beckham come from London, we've always done this. And obviously, I think when the rules changed and you kind of had to play for a team within 45 minutes of your home or something like that, I think that's when teams started looking abroad more as well. And then you see like the likes of Hannibal Medbury. 10 mil for him though. And I think when you look at these lads, I think the Mark Gerardo one, if that happens, would be a nominal fee. And 250k, we're talking about for Joe Hugo. You can either sell them off for probably more than that in 5 years' time, or you've got players for your first team for an absolute bargain.
You could probably write off 5 to 10 mil a year, couldn't you, for an academy signing? Because if one every 2 years comes off, you're chilling. And you'd get, if you could put aside, there's 10 mil a season for academy signings, you'd probably get him 4 or 5 top draw footballers at that level.
Well, if you did that for 3 years, eventually in 3 years, you'd sell a player which would fund all of that, and it'd just be self-funding almost, wouldn't it? Yeah. Some teams have to live by that, but obviously United can create players for the first team.
But no one really does that really as like policy. Well, Leipzig do it as policy.
I was about to say that. You have to look at Red Bull teams. They seem to have a policy where they do that. They snap up the best youngsters, promise them an opportunity to showcase their talents and then sell them off. And you hear like Real Madrid aren't going after Pogba, but they're going after Haaland because they know that deal can be done. And it's 60 million, I think, isn't it? It's around 60 mil.
Something like that.
So that wouldn't surprise me.
To be fair, he's been shit at Dortmund, and he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything at all. Not proven anything yet.
Absolutely jack
shit.
But
Bruno's definitely team of the year. How much piss did that boil? Did you see it? The reply?
I'm going to be honest and say it didn't boil enough piss because it's kind of ridiculous.
I wouldn't put him in a team.
Who picked that?
I think it was is it a combination of their pundits?
Fucking hell. Mate, my nuts are doing my head in here.
Oh, God.
Am I send you a picture?
Please don't. Best United player post Ferguson, says Paul 99 MUFC.
Zlatan. Delivered.
I'd say Rashford or Marshall over the long term.
Right, I was thinking signed.
Signed. You could even, if you just put your best United players, Zlatan's a shout, but also Herrera's a shout.
God, yeah. Forget about him.
Matter.
This is the problem with all of the players that we've signed. That billion or whatever we spent, which is nuts, on players post Fergie. You've nothing to show for it. Well, okay, you got Pogba. You
got Pogba.
You spent 10% of that on Pogba, yeah. But like, and Mata, that was a big fee. But you ain't got Fellaini. You ain't got Di Maria. You still got Luke Shaw, actually.
With Di Maria, we recruit most of his fee, to be fair. But it was still a failed signing, wasn't it?
But yeah, I mean, when people, no one ever talks about your ins and your outs and how that relates to what your ticket sales were and your sponsorship. You go, you spent X. Or your net spend. Net spend only includes players sold. Why doesn't it include how many shirts we sold? Should do, if you're talking about fucking net spend. Because net spend for United is fucking nothing because we make so much money.
Financial fair play, basically, that, isn't it?
Yeah. If you think about this, right? If I give you $1 billion, who's your... Is it Northern Premier where you are? Non-league? You got if a team from Birmingham comes out of a conference, they go into Conference North or South.
Yeah, I think it's North. Yeah.
Right. What did he go into after that? After they get relegated again?
It'd be the Midlands League, I think. There's a Midlands one.
Is there a Midlands one? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Round here, it's the Northern Premier. That's where Droylsden, Hyde, FC, all them lot are at. What's your local team at that level?
We've got a fair few. We've got like Solihull Moors, Walsall. Oh, they're the league though, aren't they? We've got a few teams like that around here.
Right, let's say Solihull.
Not as many as up north. There's a hotbed up north. But
Mate,
we have got
Tameside, where I am, has got about fucking 10. All in that level. It's mental. Right, if I give you $1 billion, like United in 7 years have spent $1 billion on players, right? If I give you $1 billion, how far up the league do you reckon you could get Solihull Moors?
It's mad. You could get them very far.
I reckon 100 million gets them into the league in good facilities. Yeah.
The levels 5 to 8. So you got like Hales Owen, Redditch United, Romulus, Solihull Moors. Like I said.
All right, let's go with Hales Owen because I know that Lee Sharp used to play for them. So there's a tedious link.
Yeah, then Dudley.
Hales Owen, $1 billion. You get him into the league. You probably get him into the league on $1 million.
Oh, sorry. I'm wrong. They are part of the Northern Premier League.
All right, fair enough. Even better. Same thing. So, because I reckon you give me a bill. I spend $1 billion on Droylsden. I definitely think you're in the Prem.
Yeah. Solihull Moors, man. They're probably the highest one. Second in the National League.
Like all right, yeah. So yeah, National League. Oh, you need to go lower then. Where's Hales Owen? Northern Prem.
Sutton Coldfield Town, Northern Prem. Sutton Coldfield Town are in the Northern Prem, Division 1.
Go with them then. Sutton Coldfield Town. How much do you reckon to get them in the league? I reckon 4 or 5 million you're in the league with them.
Nah, I think once you get to Division 2, Division 1, League 1, League 2.
That's what I mean. No, just get into League 2.
Oh, getting into the league.
Get into the league.
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 million.
Less than that.
I think there's a couple of
million. You can them leagues with some big signings that ain't costing you hundreds of thousands. You know what I mean?
Well, most of your transfers will be free. It'll just be wages. You just have good wages to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So you get into the league for, let's just say 4 or 5 mil. It'll take you a few years, 2-3 years to get into the league. Consecutive promotions. You're in League 2 now, where Salford have just got to. To get out of League 2, I think you're probably going to have to spend 50 mil. That might not be just signings. That might be infrastructure, facilities, coaching, analysis, all that lot. So another 50 mil. But 50 mil's got you out of League 2 into League 1, yeah? Agree? Roughly? Mm. Probably going to take you another 50 mil from there, I reckon. This is probably now more on signings and wages, I would imagine. And that gets you into the Championship.
And you're going to keep having to improve your infrastructure as well. Because you've got to tick certain boxes as you go up through these leagues, don't you?
Yep.
You can't go to the Premier League, for example. Unless your stadium's ready to be Premier League ready.
Nope.
So you've got to do certain things to tick boxes to get up to them as well. So it's difficult. You'd have loads of staff then. Your staff increases as you go up. Your players will increase. You probably end up building an academy and 23s. There's a lot of money you got to spend, and if you want to do it properly. But I think you could do it. And I think like when you look at Salford City, they've got big backing from like Peter Lim and the Nevilles and all that lot. When you look at that, like it makes sense what they're doing because they took a team from close to them. They can invest in that. They can use their stature to bring fans to it, and they can quickly get that team through the ranks without spending a lot of money. Whereas you could buy, for example, let's not look at United, but even below that, Newcastle, those kind of teams. You're spending a few $100 million, and that's instant, yes. But you could probably spend less than that and build up to that point.
And feel organic with it.
Well, it is, but some might argue that it's not organic.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because you've paid your way through.
Yeah. So Salford City, like a lot of people in their league, I'm not saying there's not other teams like them because there obviously is, but a lot of teams will probably look at them and think, fucking, they're a fake club almost. When they're not, because they've had a lot of fans for a lot of time, but we'll know that some people only go to watch them because they feel like it's an extension of Manchester United because of the class of 92. So it's kind of like catch-22 situation with them, right? Isn't it?
It's mad at like how far you could go, I think. And you think United have spent a bill to go from 7th to 5th. We have, don't we? We've spent $1 billion to take one step forward, probably.
No, but you can't look at it that way.
But we have, though. I'm not wrong, am I?
But we have probably spent more because you've got more than a bill already there.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, from the start point, if you've got $1 billion, you have to spend this $1 billion in 7 years.
Yeah.
You would assume, if I give you Manchester United in 2013, Fergie's just left, Mckola's now in charge.
I would have done better than that.
But if I had to give you $1 billion to spend and said, do you reckon you can get us to 5th?
Yeah.
Or, now what's crazier is that from that point, when we finished 7th, if I'd have give you a bill and said, can you win us the league? You'd have been, but you've got to spend it over 7 years. You'd have been like, how many league titles do you want, you dickhead? Or if I'd have said to you, there's a bill, take Droylsden to the Premier League. It's probably easier to take Droylsden to the Premier League in hindsight.
But you don't have that bill unless you're Man United. It's true, isn't it? So it's getting to that point. But yeah, I hear what you're saying when you talk about purely spending that amount of money. Like, I think even if you could give Fergie a quarter of that.
Well, I'm glad this came out this week, actually. So I put it on my Patreon a year ago because, well, I think you can work out who told me. There was the interview with Ever on MUTV this week, or on the United interview, and he broke it about Ronaldo and Bale. He basically told me that a year ago, and I stuck that on Patreon, talking about who Fergie wanted and the where and wherefore. Fergie wasn't backed by the Glazers. Fergie had no spend under the Glazers, partially because of how much Ronaldo went for, but ultimately he didn't really spend anything, and that team was allowed to wither, wasn't refreshed at the right time, and then it was mismanaged coming out of him retiring into the mess that we've got now.
No.
It's mad. $1 billion quid.
But I
wasted.
also think the way Fergie left didn't help as well, because of the fact that it was a surprise almost. Like, and I think that's partly the club that are responsible, because almost if you own this club, ultimately Sir Alex Ferguson is an employee. You know what I mean? He's not the club, so you have to prepare for when this employee leaves. So you should almost be saying, like, this geezer's gone beyond retirement age now. We have to be ready. In 2001, we were already warned. This guy's going to leave soon. So from there, we should have been like, all right, he potentially is going to leave in the next 5 years. I thought we'd probably get 5 years more out of Fergie, and he's gone. Do you know what I mean? After that,
I never considered it. Never considered it.
12 years, and they had so much time to then sort all of that out and get everything in place. Maybe give him the funds to say, right, can you help us implement these decisions, or bring someone in that's going to help you cross over. They never ever looked at it that way. And then the way he left was a surprise to him, because it was obviously the health, of his family and him being there for his wife and things. And I think eventually he probably just thought, I've been selfish all my life, I have to go and do that now. And that's fine, but the way it came to the players, the way it came to everyone was a shock. Whereas if we prepared for that, maybe it's different. But then even he said announcing his retirement a year before he left was the biggest mistake he ever made. Because he couldn't do anything, like the team, there was no real challenge there from him. But you imagine that if he did leave then?
2001. Yeah, they were going to get Sven, yeah. But you might have got Sven, it might not have worked out, and you might have moved on to, you might have been forced earlier to adapt and change, and you might have been forced earlier to adapt and change under an ownership and a CEO that actually knew the fuck they were doing in Gill.
But then look how many leads in European Cups we won after that. We're not sitting on 20 now.
No, probably not. No, we're probably not. But you don't know where we'd be. You might, because actually, if in 2001 he won 5 more, right?
3-4 years later, Roman comes in. Yeah. Ain't no manager on earth challenging Roman with that time other than Sir Alex Ferguson. I couldn't have seen it. Arsene Wenger was at Arsenal and he couldn't. And to be fair, he was. Let's not deny how good he was. He couldn't keep up with that.
But that you're assuming it would have been like the underspending of the Glazers. If you look at the spending prior to the Glazers, yes, it was Fergie, but it was still Martin Edwards, and it was still a PLC. The years prior to the Glazers, we went Rooney, highest fee for a teenager, Ronaldo, Rude, Rio, Veron.
Okay, but then
massive transfers.
So we've now been without Fergie for 3-4 years, maybe changed managers twice, and now we've got the Glazer takeover. So we've got this whole upheaval coming in 2005.
But would you
and we
have
haven't got
had
Sir Alex Ferguson to save us?
But would you have had the takeover?
That's true, because it happened because of Sir Alex Ferguson, and that's
partially happened because of a falling out with them. You don't know where it would have led to. You can't say it would or wouldn't have happened, but you can only say, would we have had it? It would be up in the air, certainly.
Can we have a thumbnail with us looking into a crystal ball on this one?
No. Because that's loads of effort. I
want Fergie and Sven in a crystal ball with me and you around it like this. No, it just would have been interesting to see where we would have
What
gone.
if Roman had bought us? Fergie retired in 2001. Roman came to United Real Madrid. What if we was actually more sellable because we'd have took a dip at the time in 2001 post-Fergie? When Roman comes to England and watches a match, what if United is actually an asset that he could have bought at the time? What if we'd have got Abramovich in 2003 instead of Chelsea? Because it was United Real Madrid that he went to. When Ronaldo scored that trick against us. That was the game I think it was that game. Or it might have been the one the year before. Or 2 years before.
The Redondo one.
It was United Real Madrid that he went to. Fell in love with football. Like, hang on, is this your fucking first football match, mate? And then it's like, I need a Premier League team. What?
He got them quite cheap though, didn't he? At the time.
It wasn't a quid, was it? That was what Ken Bates bought them for, wasn't it?
They were going out for business or something was happening to them.
You got them cheap because you assumed the debt, I think.
But they
go for a quid, don't they, when you agree
I
to
always
take
remember Chelsea being there or thereabouts for the Champions League. That's some decent-ish teams. Cup team they were.
Yeah, they did all right with Ranieri. He took them quite close. Yeah, Vialli did all right. They made some quite interesting signings, didn't he, in the 90s? He played for him. I don't know if he managed them.
No, he player manager at Spurs, wasn't he? Glenn
Player manager.
He was player. No, was he play? I'm sure Vialli was a player manager.
Vialli was, yeah.
No, sorry, Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glenn Hoddle, player manager. I'm sure he was.
He was also a turbo fucking weirdo with.
93 to 96 he was player manager for Chelsea, and 91 to 93 he was player manager for Swindon. I didn't know about the Swindon one. I didn't even know. I forgot. Well, I forgot about Glenn Hoddle managing Wolves.
When was that? Was that after? 98?
04 to 06.
Oh, shit.
Okay, now. I remember Southampton and Spurs.
He tried to bring in 3-5-2 for England. You had Terry Venables, who loved a 4-4-2. And Terry Venables was awesome, but Terry Venables liked a brown envelope, so the FA got rid of him. And they brought Glenn Hoddle in, who was just a fucking pure weirdo.
But he did. Was it the 5-3-2?
3-5-2.
Oh, I thought it was the 5. But whatever. But he was very weird, and he used to have people walking around the pitch in certain directions. And he said some wild stuff about disabled people. He was a very, very wild guy, but at times played good football with England.
Well, he was probably ahead of the curve on certain things, but just batshit crazy with others. He had a faith healer, didn't he? And he made the players go and sit down with her for an hour to heal them. And they'd be like, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, you just pray. All right, that's going to nip my fucking cruciate ligament back together, is it?
Glenn Hoddle. What was the outrageous decision he made in the France 98 squad? Darren Anderton started over Beckham. I remember that. That pissed me off. Fucking Darren Anderton.
No, was it Redknapp? Was it not Redknapp?
Face used to piss me off, but he dropped someone out of the squad that shouldn't have been dropped.
Sheringham?
I know Real travelled with that team.
Was it Sheringham?
But yeah, he was a knob.
I think it was probably like Fowler or someone, or Andy Cole.
Andy Cole. So he was the one that made the Andy Cole thing of he needs 4 or 5 chances to score a goal. He said that in the press, and that kind of stuck around Andy Cole's name, and that was used as a reason why he never used to play for England.
Yeah.
Andy Cole was tearing it up for United in Europe and in the league, but he wouldn't play for England. Now, England was sport for choice. They had many great strikers. Let's not forget Les Ferdinand, Shearer, Sheringham, fucking Andy Cole, all these geezers. But Andy Cole should have been playing for England. It should have been Andy Cole up there at some point, even if it was sometimes Shearer and Sheringham.
4 or 5 chances is it's a 25% conversion rate. There ain't many strikers that have got that. Harry Kane is probably about 5 point summit conversion rate, which is it's more than 5 chances. They go, yeah.
I remember he kind of made this thing that Andy Cole had a bad attitude kind of stick as well. I remember, and then I remember when in an interview, was it Glenn came out and said, he won't let me call him Andy or something. He makes me call him Andrew or some shit like that. And then in a press conference, they asked Andy Cole that. And they asked Andy Cole, do you prefer to be called Andy or Andrew? And he says, call me what you want. My mom calls me Andrew or something like that. Something like that. And then the newspaper was, we can only call him Andrew. And I remember United fans singing Andrew Cole that night. But it was just like stupid stories like that used to just circulate around him, and you used to think, like, what the fuck, man? The geezer's scoring goals week in, week out for the biggest club in the country, winning the league, and you pricks don't pick him. I fell out of love with England very quickly.
Yeah. I saw Andy Cole in Ampersand, which is no longer a club in Manchester. And there was a VIP bit, and at I'm not a VIP, and at 18 I wasn't a VIP, but I did used to work at a bar, and I did know bouncers. So I got into the VIP. And I went up in the VIP, and is it Dave Watson who used to play for Everton?
Ben Watson.
No, I'm sure it's Dave.
The ginger fella.
Yeah.
I thought, Dave Watson. Something what? Steve Watson.
Steve Watson.
He used to play for Everton and Villa. Newcastle.
Dave Watson.
Steve Watson.
Dave.
I thought it was this fella.
Yeah, not him.
That's Steve Watson.
All right. Well, there was a Watson.
His name's Stephen Craig Watson.
Right, Watson, Everton. Right, there's a Steve one. Let's have a look at if it was him. That looks more like him, I'm going to be honest. 2000. Yeah, he played 200 times for Newcastle, 100 for it. All right, it was Steve Watson.
He must have knew him through Newcastle because he played for Newcastle as well.
Good point, well made. Yeah, so I was thinking this is an odd couple, but actually it's not that odd. Yeah, Watson's up there with Andy Cole. Andy Cole's wearing a black leather shirt in summer. And he was ice cold cool. This is like 2001 or 2, something like that.
Was it outstanding era, Andy Cole?
It might have been. But it was
outstanding.
It was cool as fuck, and he's got a resting cunt face, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He does have a resting miserable face. A lot of us have that.
Because of years of being misunderstood by the media.
Yeah.
So, plus he's a black man, you know what I mean? Like, let's take that into consideration as well, because it obviously would have impacted him. But, like, he was misunderstood by the media for a long, long time, misunderstood by football fans. And I think he was made out to be something that he wasn't. And as a result, he kind of stepped back from everyone because of that. And I remember speaking to him before we interviewed him and saying, like, oh, mate, you should play, like, because that was like my first interview. So I remember, like, you know, as a kid, you used to think, oh, what would I say to these guys if I ever met them and that. And I remember just meeting him and being like, yo, I was so gutted you didn't play for England more, and telling him, like, you were misunderstood. And he was telling me a lot of the things and saying, yeah, Glenn, I'll do this and that. So it's like, I just proper thought he was misunderstood. But at the end of the day, he had the last laugh, do you know what I mean? He won every single trophy he could win. He didn't win the League Cup at United, went to Blackburn, won it for them, which I suppose makes it more memorable because it wasn't for, like, winning the League Cup for United is like, fuck this, we need to focus on the league.
Yeah.
He did it for
winning
Blackburn.
Anything at Blackburn's great.
Yeah, but especially at that point when he went there. I think Yorkie joined him at Blackburn, didn't he?
Yeah, there was a right load ended up at Blackburn. and they all sort of like stayed mates, and I think that was partly the reason. Is because they all lived in Owsley Edge still. But yeah, I went up to him in a bar. He's with that fucking Watson Stephen guy, and across the room, he looks miserable. He does look miserable, and you're like, oh, I don't want to go and say anything. And then you go, fuck it, I'm saying it, fuck it. So you go over, and I was like, can I get you a drink? And he was like, do you know what? Yeah, go on then. So I just got him a bottle of fucking Beck's or something, and just be like, do you know what? I just fucking the best football I ever seen ever was watching you and Dwight York, and just bent his fucking ear off for about 20 minutes. And the media persona, and from what I've seen in interviews, the very quiet, not really talkative Andy Cole, that wasn't what I met. That wasn't what I experienced. He was chatty. He was laughing. He was having a good time. He might have been pissed. That's a possibility.
Have you seen the Andy Cole documentary where he talks about from like Bristol Rovers, Arsenal? Because people forget he played for Arsenal first, right?
Mate, that Arsenal youth team at the time that was bringing through...
Rocastle there, didn't he?
Yeah, Rocastle, Ian Wright, Kevin Campbell, Andy Cole.
Some legends there, you know.
Fucking right strikers through.
That's it. Sports Life Stories, I think it was. It might be that. But it's like, even then he's got a thing where he says, I apologise now to everybody for being the way I've been. I'm not ungrateful. Like, it's obviously the kidney issues that he has made him have a different... But I don't think he should have that outlook on life. I think, like, he made so many people's lives happy, like, it is nuts. Like, yo, the geezer's a legend, man.
My favourite celebration.
99 as well. The goal against Spurs. No other striker does that, you know. That was his trademark, bringing his leg high like that and just bringing the ball down with it. Like, that was his trademark. Like,
my favourite celebration of the entire...
Jumping up and just standing there like that. That one.
No, the most memorable, my favourite one, the one that makes me feel exactly the way he feels running off, right? I'll set the scene for you. It's Manchester United. It's Barcelona. It's the white kit.
I would see it.
And he runs off like this.
Yeah, that one. He used to do that, didn't he, as he runs off? Yeah.
I feel every ounce of joy in him. Right now, if I put that on right now, I feel exactly the same way watching him celebrate it.
And you know what, yeah? I used to do that in school as well, because I remember that now. I used to do that but that was probably just a natural reaction for him, like, yes! But, like, it looked like it was coordinated, like he had done it, like...
You can just almost see him laughing to himself, like, yeah!
What a cheeky goal, that is a great goal. And look how many great goals were scored. Giggs' goal was scored in that shirt. That goal was scored in that shirt. Some great goals. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer scored 4 in 10 minutes in that shirt.
Underrated.
We did some very good things in that shirt. You know?
Bayern Munich away in that shirt.
In the group stages.
Yeah, man. All I can remember is Paul Scholes standing all over the keeper. Trying to put a ball away.
You don't get many of them now, do you? You know them goal line scrambles where everyone's flying in and the ball, you don't know where you can't see the ball, and there's not many of them in football anymore, is there? I remember one at Arsenal when Van der Haar got a knee in his eye and his eye swelled up. I remember that one with we've
got a couple at Old Trafford this year, haven't we? Seems
Everton
like
Wigan when Jimmy Bullard went flying over the crowd. That was a good one. But like you don't see them many times, and you don't see anymore a diving header on the floor.
Yeah, you do if you watch Phil Jones closely enough.
No, but I mean for a goal.
Yeah.
Teddy Sheringham done that once. Slid into the ball, so the ball got cut across, and he just slid into it. And I remember trying I've told you the story about someone trying to head the ball over the line, innit? On this before.
I think so.
You know when people used to stop the ball on the line, get on their knees and head it?
You volleyed him in the head.
Yeah. But yeah, oh man. I used to, that joy of copying footballers in the playground and on the street outside. My mate Tyrell used to always be Andy Cole. I used to be Beckham or Giggs. And they used to just be, our school team was sick, man. And we all grew up at that time. And because we were in Birmingham, obviously, everyone could say, I see Reds, whatever. Like, we all were, there's a fair few of us were United fans. My other mate used to go with his dad to games. And it's like just weird, like just this small part in Birmingham. Obviously, it's a big city. Got all these kids that support United, copy what they do. And a few of them go to games, and it's like, yeah, that's mental.
Yeah, fuck it. Right, I think that's a nice, easy point to call it a day there. Cheers for tuning in. Go check out Adam's channel and everything he's up to. He's doing daily United content on there. It's well worth a check out. We've got football back next week.
The Budweiser advert's back.
No, which one?
On YouTube. Yeah. Was
Oh, it's actually everyone's locked up and they're not able to go out and shoot. They've
clever.
gone, let's use that one.
It's clever though, think about it. They're all locked up at home. Well, you can't watch the game. You can have a bud. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, it just reminded me. Janine went shopping this morning. She's like, is there anything you want? And I was like, yeah. I wanted beer. I got enough rum to sink a pirate ship. But
sometimes you just need a warm-up, don't you?
Yeah, I wanted a beer. Fucking hell.
It's a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a warm-up. Get into the spirits.
Join us tomorrow. Are you coming on for the rundown? Do you see how smashed we got last week?
Give the reason on Saturdays while we play pro clubs, everyone has a drink at home. So I need a time slot. I'll come on for 10, 15,
Mate,
20 minutes.
We're on for 3 hours.
All right, sweet.
Just dip in and dip out. Like it's a pub. You know what I mean?
All right, sweet.
It's open. It's open for 3 hours. You come and go as you please.
Well, you usually send me a link, so I'll jump in at some point every now and then.
Sorted. Right. Cheers for watching. Subscribe. See you in a bit.